Hello everyone, welcome back to Appreciating Poetry. Today we are going to learn about a poem called Homeward, written by the Nigerian born American poet Bessie Ikpe. She is a contemporary poet. At the age of 4, she had to leave behind her African home, Nigerian home, and migrate to America to be with her parents in Oklahoma and Washington, D.C. It was really painful for her to leave her native land behind. Her Nigerian self refused to adapt to her American self. This transfer from Nigeria to America has become a theme to the poem we are going to study. So this fact that she migrated from Nigeria to America as a young child affected her very much, and that is the theme of the poem we are going to study. Her pain of leaving her native land behind and her inability to adjust with the new country. That is the theme of the poem we are going to study. And now, she is a spoken word poet. What is spoken word poet? Spoken word poetry refers to an oral poetic performance art that is based mainly on the poem as well as the performer's aesthetic qualities. It is a late 20th century continuation of an ancient oral artistic tradition that focuses on the aesthetics of recitation. So she is a spoken word poet. That is, spoken word poetry is a performance of reading the poem before the public with giving aesthetic quality to it, performing quality to it, rather than reading it in a book. So she is a performer. She still performs her poetry on stage. So such a poet who concentrate on spoken word poetry is called a spoken word poet. In Malayalam also we have an example. Madhusudanan Nair is a spoken word poet. Rather, he is well known in Kerala for his audio poems. Naranatha Bhrandan, for example. And now let us see the paraphrase. See, you can read the poem here and the explanation here. I will read the poem and then read the explanation. Today I remember my grandmother as she attempts to connect with her second children. She finds the only English words she knows from somewhere hidden in the belly of her 4-foot 9-inch body, and instead of Avonge, she greets us with bye-bye, beckoning us into her thin clay-colored arms. She has my mother's face etched with time, peers at me from eyes wide and dark like mine. So some words will be unfamiliar. The way of rendering will be unfamiliar to you because her Nigerian language, Nigerian style of rendering interferes in her poem. She avoids capitalizations, commas, etc. The meaning of these lines are like this. The poet remembers her grandmother. The grandmother is Nigerian. She is trying to talk with her second children. Second children means grandchildren. Her grandchildren knows only English. No, only English. So grandmother is trying to find the few English words to talk to the grandchildren. Instead of greeting, meaning avonge, instead of greeting them, she says bye bye. She is ignorant of English. She thinks that bye bye is a greeting. She is a very loving old woman. She calls the grandchildren to her thin clay-colored arms. Clay-colored means she is dark in color. She is an African. Her face is exactly etched, engraved, or carved, just like poet's mother. From the wide and dark eyes of the grandmother, time looks at the poet. The poet feels that time is looking at her from the dark and wide eyes of her grandmother. So this stanza tells about the poet's memories of her grandmother, who tries to talk to her grandchildren with whichever few English she knows, and she greets them with bye bye because her knowledge of English is very poor, and the grandmother is exactly like the poet's mother. She says that she is etched like, carved like the poet's mother. Then I walk into these arms that once mothered my mother, taught her how to mother me, inhale the history from her skin. She reminds me of the little girl, bow-legged and round-faced, holding roasted corn in one hand and a fistful of chin-chin in the other, still begging for orange Fanta to wash it all down. I remember her voice firm yet loving. Ehe, Emma, Bazi, Agi, Awai, you must eat, then drink. Sometimes I forget, but she remembers the small scared girl carried away on an iron bird to America. Seems like that same bird has returned only to replace her, that perfect girl with me, the strange tongue-tied woman, the one that can barely say hello without the clicks and moans, the dips and tones of white man's language. She listens now as I struggle with Atom Adam. The paraphrase is like this. The poet walks to the care of grandmother's hands, the hands which once cared poet's mother. It was grandmother who taught her mother how to take care of the poet. It was grandmother who taught the poet to understand the history of her land, Nigeria, from her skin, understanding the history of the land from her skin, from the color of the skin. That means they are Africans. The poet remembers her childhood appearance. She was bow-legged, legs curved like bow. She remembers herself holding roasted corn in one hand and a fistful of chin-chin, a Nigerian food, and crying for orange drink Fanta. The grandmother will say in her firm, loving voice, Bassie, you must eat, then drink. Grandmother remembers how the poet was carried away to America in an iron bird. Iron bird is actually an aeroplane. She was a scared little girl then. The iron bird had replaced that perfect little girl with a strange woman whose tongue is tied. That is the new poet. Now, the tongue is tied because she is not able to talk in English very well, without clicks and moans, not fluent English. The poet is not able to. When she reached America, the poet was not able to talk in a fluent English. Her tongue was tied. Grandmother now listens to the poet, struggling with Atom Adam. Atom Adam probably means struggling with the gods. Atom means God in Egypt, God in Egyptian culture. Adam stands for Adam. So when she reached America, she was not able to adjust herself with the American culture. So the iron bird left the poet in such a tongue-tied manner. This is the orange drink Fanta, and this is the bow legs. And it breaks my heart to realize that I can only love her clearly in English. But tears do not replace the words. Love will not make it easier, make it less heavy. Desire will not help me remember what the words taste like flowing like the Cross River from my tongue. Now, when she became a grown-up, the poet feels that she can communicate with her grandmother only in English. Now she learned English. Now she feels that she can only communicate with her grandfather in English. But her tears are more powerful than words. Tears here stands for emotions. Her love for her grandmother will not make her language better or less heavy. Less heavy means less difficult. America had replaced her Nigerian tongue with English. She cannot now remember how once words flew from her tongue like Cross River. Cross River is a river in Nigeria. You can see it here. So now she feels that her language is replaced with American. She cannot now remember how Nigerian language once flew from her tongue like Cross River. So we are stopping here and will continue in the. So hope you understood that the poem is about her nostalgia for the Nigerian land she left behind, how that memories of Nigeria remains within her mind. Thank you.